to TLT Talks. We have for you today what I hope will be a very powerful show. We've got a great guest speaker coming on. The first of this category, which I'll introduce in a second, but let me ask you this question. When I say the word burnout, does that mean anything to you? Does that land with you? Is that something you've experienced? Or maybe a word like rejection? Is that something that you've had some experience with? Is that something maybe you struggle with? Or how about one of my favorites? This one gets overused and or underused depending who you speak to. This word anxiety. Is that something that lands or is present for you, or its little sibling called stress? So we have on today, who should be on shortly any minute now, a friend, a board certified physician, co-founder of Manhattan Psychiatry Group. She's a brilliant psychiatrist, has been leading medical practices for a while. And forging the future of psychiatry. He's building out a special wing at Lenox Hill. He should be on in just 1 second. And here we go. Emil, how's it going, my friend?
Good. How are you? Can
I'm
you
doing
hear me?
excellent. I hear you great. I just got done singing your praises about forging the future of psychiatry and the great work you're doing with Lenox Hill. Plus, if anyone, let me do this for you as we start the show. In case anyone needs somebody to talk to, needs some direction, you can reach out to me, or Emil will share how to find him. But his practice is in the city, and so just a brilliant dude, just a brilliant dude. So, mate, why don't you take a few seconds? Why don't you introduce yourself to our audience and let us
Yeah,
know who you are, what you do. Give us a little juice.
sure. I'm Emil Achmad. I currently practice here in Manhattan. I've been in academic medicine most of my career, and it sort of shaped how I sort of saw medicine being practiced. I've been in part of health systems, and I value rigorous medical care. And I saw
Mm.
opportunity to sort of build something that's outside of the system. And, instead of wishing, systems to sort of coalesce to my vision, this is sort of where the entrepreneurial spirit sort
Love
of
that.
got ignited. And so we
Mm.
created Manhattan Psychiatry Group.
Love that.
And I think, again, that's where Eugene and I met and sort of found our kindred sort of a soul about life.
Yeah, that's right. I actually, so we had met at tennis at the Manhattan Racket Club, and we just got to talking. What do you do? And then we started chatting, and we just found that a lot of our views of the world and of human development kind of overlapped. And truthfully, we've never had a psychiatrist on the show. You, sir, are our very first. We've had lots of people speak to behavioral patterns, whether
Mm.
it's executive coaches or motivational speakers, or but our first time speaking to a psychiatrist. I'm quite excited about hearing it from the medical community, and especially someone that's got an entrepreneurial spirit. Man, kudos to you for not conforming with how it's meant to be done or what the status quo is, but having a vision of how it should be done and going and making that vision a reality. And now you're teaching others your reality and your truth. And just kudos, man. Really kudos for
Oh,
all that.
well, thank you. I mean, you're making me blush. That's really hard to do, but hopefully I'm your first, but hopefully not the last.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, we like to have a good time on the show. Do you care to share with the audience a fun fact? Anything people
Yeah.
may not know about you?
Yeah. Well, we sort of touched upon it, but I think sports has always been sort of a nice little thread in my life.
Mm.
Prior to tennis, I was an avid golfer, but now I would consider myself an avid tennis player, and that's again how you and I met. If we're going to relate about rejection and identity, Eugene totally bageled me, and yet I still showed up at the club. So.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. And actually, I remember that. I remember in the middle of the match. 'Cause I love a good match. I love paying it forward. I remember in the middle of the match being like, I don't know how wise it is for me to coach my opponent, but on the serve, if you just tweak this or that, and we had a we had a great match, and ultimately it's turned into a beautiful relationship. So that's
Yeah.
awesome, dude. Well, Nate, let's jump right in. So
Yeah.
I opened the show while you were coming on talking about essentially these three words slash concepts, burnout, rejection, anxiety, and we'll pick them apart one at a time. But so excited to hear from you. In my world, whether that's the world of entrepreneurship or the
Mhm.
world of real estate, certainly burnout is available, right? I mean, the opposite of that is available too, passion, energy, frame, all that's available too. But burnout is something I commonly hear,
Mm.
and it can manifest in different ways. But in your practice or in your view, how should people proactively or reactively deal with burnout? How should they look at it?
Yeah.
Enlighten us, man. What do you got for us?
Yeah. I mean, I would say even just even in my own personal experience, I've experienced burnout.
Sure.
I'm not so sure anyone who is ambitious has not experienced a period of burnout. You know, what I've come to realize is burnout tends to happen when we don't feel connected with our work. You know,
Hmm.
we want purpose. We want to feel like what we're doing is has meaning and is gonna yield an outcome. And I think again, when we're talking about business and entrepreneurship, that's where sometimes that's what inspires us to build something. So um, you know uh, I sort of look at burnout as sort of a symptom to look at and reflect on, where are we at in life? What
Hmm.
are we doing? Do we feel connected to it? And it doesn't mean that you're working too hard, because I think we all have the capacity to work hard. But when we're feeling that disconnect, that might be what we're calling burnout.
Totally. Yeah, totally. I couldn't agree more. It's like, and language has such power. If someone were doing all the same exact work, if we're going to use work as the example, maybe it's hours at a job or whatever. If they were doing all the same work, but the reward was different, I wonder would they still feel burned out? And the reward could be monetary, it could be fulfillment, could be anything. Same at home. And so, like, the difference between burnout and ambition,
Mm,
in many ways might actually be how connected you are. Well, I mean, the physical, like, it's kind of like fear and anxiety, fear and excitement, right? Like the physical manifestation of fear and excitement are almost identical. Your palms are sweaty, your heart's racing. All the physical manifestations are almost identical, but then the word you used and the imagination you let in will dictate which it is. And when I think about burnout, someone that's feeling all those symptoms of burnout, if on the other side of it, if you're feeling fatigue, but you really are happy with the results, you would call that ambition or passion versus burnout,
mhm.
just simply based on the way. I mean, mindset's such a powerful thing, just based on the way we're looking at it. So if someone came to you and they're complaining of burnout, is there a recommended practice, proactive or reactive,
Mm,
of getting out of this funk, or
mm.
helping this person reframe that burnout into something else? Like what would be a recommended practice for that? I mean, I get we're not trying to do a bathrobe here. I get everyone's a different human, but
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
generality, is there like a go-to couple of things one could do?
Yeah, well, I mean, if we can look at it two ways, right? If we
Hmm.
are, and I sort of mentioned this before in previous conversations with you, are sort of that work with coaching and
Hmm.
what I
Yeah,
do, they're complementary. Okay, they're not going to
totally.
replace one another. So, I think we all have thresholds to sort of figure out, okay, well, when should someone sort of look into this more? But what I've realized also with starting a business is a lot of the principles and skills I took and learned as a physician, I'm translating it to my work in building a business. And that is, again, being consistent and
Hmm.
methodical.
That's
All
right.
right. And sort of knowing what the end goal is. Well, if someone comes to me with burnout question, I'm going to have to ask myself and be, curiosity, I think is a big thing. Is it really burnout? You
Right.
know, so part of it is understanding a person in your work, in the people who listen. You want to know who your client is.
That's right.
Not everything or not something that I think might be cool and good is going to
Right,
be
right,
applicable to
right.
someone.
Exactly.
So I would just say that, if you are feeling burnout, let's say they're working with already someone who is sort of an executive coach. They're sort of trying to translate, well, how do you work efficiently? If we have to look under the hood, that's probably where maybe I might step in
Right,
or maybe be
right,
curious. But your question is a little twofold in the sense that it's why I built what I'm building
right.
with my practice partners. I think there's this big stigma with psychiatry in general. It's like, oh, automatically the medication is
That's
going to
right.
make this
That's
better.
right. That's right.
And as you said, language is important, and being methodical is important. So I'm going to be looking systemically, and
Right.
that's why it's a medical specialty. I want to
That's
know
right.
what else is going on, because you're
Hmm.
right. It may be simply that as burnout starts building up, something might develop where your sleep is not doing well. You're
Totally.
not able to sort of be present with your
Oh,
family and whatnot.
hormones might be all balanced. Yeah, of
Oh yeah,
course.
yeah,
All that
yeah,
stuff.
yes,
All that
yes.
stuff.
I will be
Totally.
drawing blood and blah blah blah. So,
Yeah.
so anyways, being methodical is probably the
Yeah.
biggest thing.
I love that, man. I love that. I truly love that. And where I thought, just for our viewers, where I really was impressed with Emil is, kind of like in the real world, sales and marketing don't really get along. Marketing wants everything methodical. Sales like F off, let me go close deals. Operations and sales tend to butt heads sometimes. The coaching world and the medical world tend to butt heads. The coaching world has this perspective or persona that these guys just want to write pills and they don't really solve anything, and vice versa. Who are these guys? We have degrees. And actually, what I love is you're neither right nor left in that constance. Is what's best for the human. Both sides have something great to offer. Actually, let's be in partnership, which is probably the best way to be. Our political views could probably use some of that now. You're either right or you're left, and there's nothing in the middle. We can't even have a conversation anymore.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, man, that's really great. Is ultimately there's not a one answer thing, and it's let's take a look under the hood and let's figure out what's really happening here. What kind of similar, I mean, in the same family as burnout is
hmm
something we face in my industry all the time. Rejection,
yeah,
and then I guess the opposite of rejection would be like resiliency. And in my business, I guess it's probably any entrepreneur, but certainly in real estate sales, you get a lot more no's than you get yeses. If you get a listing,
mm,
there's going to be far more people that don't want it for any number of reasons than the buyer that wants it. Same for a rental listing. Or if you're a buyer, there's going to be a lot more places that you're not going to like, and then there's going to be the one you like. So we have to regularly be comfortable with rejection. Then if I go to interview with a new client, I'm likely, I mean, my business, not really, because 99% of our business is return referral, but the typical real estate agent, you're probably competing against other brokers. And
mm,
you have to give it your best and then and be okay being told, sorry, no dice, you weren't good enough. And
yeah,
on the opposite side of that is resiliency, is experiencing all that and having an attitude of like, bring it on. It's just gonna make me stronger.
yeah.
So kind of similar burnout ambition and rejection resiliency. What's your high level thoughts on either of those? If you're struggling with rejection or it's a challenge for one, what are some practices? What are some things they could do?
Yeah.
Any of your wisdom would be great.
Well, um, let's tackle rejection.
Yeah,
I think for those out listening, it's going to resonate with the example you said, but I do think that this is going to be applicable to anything.
totally.
Um, so look, rejection. You're allowed to be disappointed. Okay, it's okay. Now, and I'll say that I've had levels of this as a physician, but now I'm also understanding it personally as someone building a business. When it's something that you own, setback feels different. You're really putting yourself out there. It's not just a bad day at work.
Hmm.
You're putting let's just put it as a business owner, right? You're putting your time, your money, your reputation, and it's really being vulnerable and putting that out there. And so um, um, a no sort of becomes warped in our interpretation. So something as simple as "this didn't work out" turns easily to maybe I'm not good at this,
Hmm.
or maybe I'm in the wrong business,
No, I'm not good
or
enough. It's like,
right?
yeah, of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
of course, of
And again,
course.
when you talk about how I've seen this in training residents and future doctors and whatnot, it's everywhere. It's
Totally.
probably in dating. It's probably in
Of
relationships and
course,
everything,
of course. Yeah. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but those two statements, this didn't work out, and maybe I'm not good at this. These are very different statements, and so I see this a lot with people who are just very ambitious, very high achieving, because achievement is sort of the reward for the hard work, right? And so now we're starting to intertwine and connect those two, so that's how that statement goes out of whack. And
Hmm.
so if you're asking for real world, maybe just something to employ, you really do have to have a practical reset, because a lot of what we do when we're putting ourselves out there is putting our emotions out there.
Totally.
But then the logical mind needs to be a little tapped into, right? So I find three questions just very useful if something doesn't work out. It's
Okay.
just ask yourself what happened, ask what part of this was actually within my control,
Hmm.
and what would I do differently next time.
I love that.
I, and I think if you actually sit those down, whether it's writing it out, whether it's just sitting there thinking about it, instead of replaying that situation 100 times of what ifs, you're actually bringing things into a concrete, sort of circumscribed, sort of idea and review of what happened. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I like, and for it's so funny you said the word achiever. Most of us, especially entrepreneurs, tend to be overachievers, and we are so good at beating ourselves up about the things that didn't work out. And in most cases, unless you've had some formal training in this, so bad at celebrating anything we've achieved. By the time we're close to the achievement, it's just an expectation now. And like whether that's a dollar amount or a success in business or whatever it is, if you set out to make $1 million, by the time you're at 800, 900, you kind of know you're going to get there. And then if you don't repeat every year, now it's like there's something wrong with you, or a certain amount of sales or whatever it is. And when something goes, when we achieve the thing we wanted to achieve, the celebration is if you get a new car, you get a new house, you get a new
Mm.
thing. The celebration is 5 seconds that you didn't land that big client, and that could throw you into a spiral for months.
Yeah.
Thinking about all the ways that didn't work out. So yeah, man, I think having I love that word. I've never actually heard a practical reset. I actually think that's really powerful. And whatever the system is, just having some construct and some things don't work out, we don't dwell on it, but instead we have a process for how to make it better for future and yada yada. It's like a guardrail almost
Hmm.
to prevent from a spiral.
Yeah.
That's really great. That's really great.
I mean, I'm sure you're doing that. Remember, between
Yeah,
sets,
yeah, yeah. I
after a
actually
serve
say I
game, you're
actually
actually,
say
you're thinking.
totally. I'm a little lucky in that sense. My brain, they say there's people that are tend to be very present, people that really naturally focus in the past, and people that naturally focus in the future.
Hmm.
So I have very little ego. Like I'm confident, obviously, but I'm not. Ego is not like my sauce. That's not my vibe. And so when I do well, I don't allow myself to get overly cocky. And when I don't do well, I don't beat myself up about it either. I mean, that's probably not true. I beat myself up a healthy amount, I'd say. But my brain, I've just trained my brain to constantly be evaluating just that. Not dwelling on the misses, but like, why did I miss? What could have been done better? What will I do next time? What's the training I need? You mentioned coaches. I'm such a big believer in the coaching space. I mean, I've invested so much money. I've done every kind of coach. I mean, the Tony, Tom Ferry, Ninja Selling, you name it, I've done it. I have a life/business coach that I meet with weekly. That's been going on for years. I have a business mentor. I go to Texas 3 times a year to learn business. That I've been doing that for 9 years. Like I'm such a student constantly of the game. And absolutely what I describe happens to me all the time. There's some new conquest, some new milestone, some new thing I've never done before.
Yeah.
And the second that it becomes within reach, I have to have a practice to call celebration because I expect myself to achieve these goals. Even if it's a goal I've never achieved before,
Yeah.
I'm fully expecting of myself to achieve these things. And if I don't, there's a healthy amount of, self beaters club or
Hmm.
whatever.
Hmm.
I almost think like if you fail, I mean, I love what you said about it's healthy almost to feel these things. If you don't achieve or you fail and you feel nothing, to me, that's something is wrong. Not you have failed and you have an emotion about it. That's healthy to me. That's what it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Well, and that's a really good segue to the ugly cousin of rejection or burnout, anxiety. The cousin nobody wants at the barbecue,
Yeah.
anxiety or its little sibling, stress, and there's a concrete difference. I grew up, my upbringing was kind of tough, and stress was something I experienced a lot. And then there was a period of my life that I experienced anxiety, made me a better leader, a better mentor. But the physical manifestation of anxiety versus stress is totally different. The impact is totally different.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of those words that is commonly either underused in some communities where like you're not allowed to admit that you're feeling some level of anxiety. And in other communities, it's like every 5 seconds, I can't pick out what I want to eat. I'm anxious, like, and
Mm-hmm.
there's everything in the middle, obviously. So for those folks that maybe struggle with anxiety or they don't know how to best handle themselves or they feel it physically or mentally, or
Yeah.
wonder
Yeah.
if you got any hacks for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, this probably ties into
Mhm.
why we built Manhattan Psychiatry Group, but again, to help with some of that, that space that sort of dilutes the word, makes it overused to the point where people don't actually know what it is that is anxiety or what sort of is the threshold to actually again
Right.
seek medical help, right? But part of that is because we do live, and especially in New York City, it's just very fast paced. It's a
Yeah.
lot of stimuli. But anxiety, there's productive and unproductive anxiety.
Totally.
Right. And so productive anxiety, look, anxiety is not bad. It makes us better, as you said.
Hmm.
It actually makes good doctors. I would
Hmm.
be a little too worried if one of my trainees was just like, yeah, well, did you check the labs? Yeah, I checked them. No, we have a little bit of anxiety. That's why we keep checking them. And
That's right.
that's, again, keeps us on top of our work. It helps you prepare. It helps you, whether, as you said, make the call, read up on a client, sort of know some of these things. That's what allows us to see a problem before it becomes a bigger problem. So,
Mm.
um, unproductive anxiety, right? Is this something that, you know, is, again, the mind and body are connected? Is this something I'm ruminating on despite the objective evidence, right? Is this something where, that you've done everything out of your control, back to what we were talking about with practical reset, and then it's still popping up? I think, in business, as I'm starting to realize, and I'm sure with what you've built, with more success doesn't mean less anxiety.
That's right.
Anxiety actually probably
Mm.
grows because now you feel that, the things that you've built, people sort of depend on you now.
Totally.
Whatever infrastructure you sort of made, right? People depend your performance now. So now the pressure is big.
Yep.
So I understand some version of that, and so I would say that finding and needling that sort of distinction when anxiety becomes not so great, I do think you have to really tap into objective things that I look out for, whether it's your sleep, whether you are being present, whether, again, hopefully not, but if you are having panic attacks,
Right.
those are sort of
Yeah.
those big
Yeah.
things. But again,
Mm.
anxiety is normal. Anxiety is part of our human experience. It's why if we were to see, um, a bear in Midtown, we're not going to run up to, hug it. We know there shouldn't be a bear in Midtown.
That's right.
Anxiety is good.
That's right.
Um, we just need to be able to sort of, again, be mindful. And if you're asking for something practical, um, because another term that probably gets thrown around is mindfulness.
Hmm.
Um, no one's asking, especially executives and just it doesn't even matter. Busy college student, busy person who has a lot of things going on. No one's asking you to meditate for 20 minutes.
Hmm.
I would say there's a simple sort of 60-second thing you could do. Okay, is sort of being able to connect and recognize and reset. Okay, so identify something, for 60 seconds, physical, like your breathing. During that breathing, when your mind is supposed to travel somewhere, you're probably going to think about that next email. You're going to think about like what you didn't do. You might be thinking about, okay, I got to pick up the kids or whatever.
Hmm.
When that happens, go back to the breath. All right. And just do that for 60 seconds. So the idea is not to shut down your brain. The idea is just to say it's okay to have all these things, but now you know how to
Yeah.
ground yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think, I think the thing that gets missed a lot is the work is proactive. That's really like, I think that's, once someone's already like on the spiral of anxiety, then they're like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? Well, first of all, you're late to the game. What you do is 6 months ago, you should have been doing a morning routine. You should have been hanging with family. So not from a judgmental place, but from a place of whoever's watching this show. Let's say you feel sensational right now and burnout and rejection anxiety is nowhere in your world. What a great time to start whatever meditation, mindfulness, whatever it is that's going to keep you there, because no one is immune to life. Life throws curveballs. Like the one constant is change. And whether that's AI or politics or whatever, some way, somehow, you're going to get touched by uncertainty and by unpleasant. So people say they love surprises. Nonsense. They love good surprises. They don't love bad surprises. So the work starts proactively. The work starts and like make sure there's a daily practice, a regimented practice of staying in these good spirits, good, staying in a resourceful state. And then if you find yourself, not handling these things well, it's good to feel these things. But if you find yourself not handling things, there's a myriad of avenues. There's coaches, there's, people like Emil, there's friends, there's family, there's a myriad of places. And just know there is solutions available. An out is available, a processing is available. And certainly I hope everyone will remember that I love you all, and none of you are special or unique. If you're feeling burnout, sorry, you're not special. You're one of everybody else. If you struggle with rejection, sorry again, not special. You're just like everybody else. Certainly the same thing of anxiety, especially if you live in the concrete jungle of New York City. Emil, what a pleasure, man. Any closing remarks, oh, wait, before we jump, I'll get to that in a second. How do people find you? I mean, if someone wants to work with you or find you,
Yeah.
or how do people look you up?
You could go to our website,
Okay.
www.mp-grp.com. You
There
can
you go.
simply Google Manhattan Psychiatry Group.
There you go.
There's three physicians. You don't have to choose me. The right fit is there for you. Like I said, we're very methodical. No one size fits all. And we're here to figure out, getting you back to functioning. Really, that's
Love
all.
it. Love it, man. If you guys didn't catch that, DM me. I'll put you in touch. That felt pretty straightforward though. And any closing thoughts, final remarks, any final suggestions based on everything we've chatted on?
Yeah, I think when we talk about burnout, anxiety, and everything, I
Mm,
just and it's much truer now. And again, it was true to me even in sort of academic medicine, but now in business. But you know, our successes shouldn't be measured just by what you can sort of sustain professionally. Okay, it should be measured by what are we willing to sort of sacrifice to maintain it. You
Yeah.
know, what would it cost? And I
Yeah.
think that reframes it for us to look at the positives, you know, and
Totally.
create those boundaries. Because again,
Totally.
we started these things to spend more time with our families, to have some freedom, blah, blah, blah.
That's right.
But that sustained success, you got
Yeah.
to just make sure that it doesn't cost
Totally.
everything.
Oh man, it's so wise. I have people come to me all the time. I want to get into real estate. I get to set my own hours. I'll work less. I'll make more money. I'll see my family more. It's like, yeah, totally. It's exactly what it looks like. You do control your own hours. They just end up being controlled by your clients and whether you want to take that. Yeah, totally. Well, Emil, thank you so much for your time. What a
Yeah,
great show. I hope people will take you up on your offer to see you and connect. And certainly, if you guys can find them, find me, and I'll put you guys in touch.
yeah.
What a pleasure, man. Thank you for your
No,
time.
thank you. Thank you.
All right, brother. Be well.
All right.